the league is asking their independent investigator to consider their thoughts on what they think the potential suspension should be, which is as high as a year-long suspension. We had discussed this from the NFLPA perspective of how they may respond, where the report from Pro Football Talk yesterday was they're preparing for an unprecedented suspension of a full year without pay. And we responded to that by saying what's really unprecedented about that. The league is...
This is not the investigator, to be clear. It's the disciplinary officer. So the somewhat independent...
reports to her?
Yeah, she's the one who makes the initial decision. Then Goodell gets to review it and finalize what the suspension is. So she'll make, this is Sue L. Robinson, will make the initial disciplinary decision. And that's who they plan to urge to be super stringent with, according to Mark Maskey of the Washington Post.
I got you. She is she's the former district judge of the United States who the NFL and the NFLPA
agreed to have.
I got you. To hand down discipline.
I don't know if they agreed on her. They agreed someone would do it, and she's the person in that role.
So she reviews and handles discipline for the conduct policy. And,
in this case, she's doing it.
Right. And the NFL, the league, hopes the entire disciplinary process, including the resolution of any potential appeal to Goodell, is completed by the start of training camp. To me, this also goes in line with a July 4th weekend news dump.
Could be then, at the latest, I would think, start of training camp. So, you could have a July 21st news dump.
But from Mark Maskey of the Washington Post, and I'll read directly from his report, the league, quote, probably will seek a suspension of one full season for Watson, a person of Watson's side of the case said Friday. A person familiar with the league's view of the case cautioned to be, quote, careful, end quote, about specifying a precise length at this point for the suspension the NFL will seek, but that person also said, quote, significant would be the proper term, end quote.
Now, if the league's pushing for a full season, and I mean, I think this is another thing the PA could argue, what's the league doing pushing this independent middle person a direction? And then Goodell reviews it. Well, what are the odds that Goodell is going to reduce something the league has pushed for? It doesn't seem fair to Watson. And then even if Goodell does review it and reduce it, if it's a 17-game, 18-week penalty and he reduces it to 15 games, what the hell does that matter for the Browns? Deshaun Watson gets to get his feet wet for 3 or 4 games, but their season is effectively over. And it won't really matter to ticket buyers, to the city, to the team. It'll be infinitesimal. But I think the PA's got a better case reacting to this story than with what we presented yesterday. I don't remember whose story it was that they're going
Florio.
Was it Florio? That they're going to say, look at how the league didn't do anything to Dan Snyder. Look at how it didn't investigate Robert Kraft. Look at how it didn't go after Jerry Jones, 3 owners with bad behavior, that some of which amounted to settlements or charges in a way that Deshaun Watson's hasn't. I think it's a better case here to say, what the hell is the league doing, planning to approach what's supposed to be a semi-independent middle person between the two sides who makes the initial judgment, even though Goodell ultimately gets to alter that judgment if he sees fit.
Right,
but he's hearing an appeal, and if he's got a hand in the initial judgment, he goes back to being judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes. The NFL...
Which is what we avoided in the CBA, a big bargaining chip for us.
Yes, and the NFLPA pushed for revisions to the personal conduct policy.
It was one of their big issues.
Yes, and this is more or less the resolution that came from the recent CBA, which is... She is designated, in this case, to hand down the initial disciplinary ruling.
And he gets to review.
And then he resolves the appeal.